p.m. For the audience here tonight, my name is Carrie Johnson, and I am the president and serve as the presiding officer over the Board of Library Trustees meetings. In consideration of others and the business conducted tonight, please silence your phones and any electronic devices and refrain from speaking unless recognized. Again, this is a public meeting for the community of Glendora. We appreciate and respect your participation here this evening. Shall we take the roll?
For the record, all trustees are here.
Who would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
Fastest pledger.
Okay, please stand. For the pledge, right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Does anyone wish to reorder or add anything to the agenda? Do we have any public comments tonight? Any?
We do not.
We do not. So I would like to invite,
And just for the record, we will open and we will also close the public comment period.
public comments are now closed, and we are now taking a report from Library Director Stone. Where is it? Oh, any reports from the board this evening?
I have a quick statement. I'll be going to the Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation meeting as the board liaison on Tuesday, April 29th, and so I'll have a report back on during May's meeting.
I have a question actually about the Glendora Friends Foundation. Like, are we going to be able to get another person to back you up or just wait until July? Do you know, Janet? Director Stone?
So the appointment of the liaisons is a role of the president of the Board of Library Trustees. Carrie, would you like to share?
Yes, I elected to remain with the solitary representative for now until the board has been refreshed with new members.
And I had some information I would like to share, a little report. So do I at any time click anything, or do you click? Okay. Okay, all right. A few weeks ago, I went up and I'm one of the California delegates, but of course I had to go and make a burnout over to check out the Sacramento Public Library. So I went to the Sacramento Public Library, and that's in front of the Capitol. So I was very excited. That was like my first time seeing it. It's under construction, like a lot, but it was cool. So the library is on the left side of the screen. So it was a very, I liked the design. I thought it was a very fresh and inviting atmosphere, as well as you could see all the windows right there. It had a very open feeling. So it was very, very well lit with natural light. And the little like pyramid thing, it's actually a book that was in the archives vault. So some of these are in different order, but it's okay. So the archive vault is the lower right corner and with the little foreboding door. But once you get in there, it's pretty cool. But that pyramid thing, it's actually a book, and it's comprised of, I think it was about like 7 or 8 books, and you pull them out, and that's what made up the shape of the little pyramid book. So that was cool. I don't remember the name of it, but it was interesting, and it's like worth a lot. They said it was one of the most valuable items in the vault. It's like because it was designed by an artist. So Okay, yeah. Okay, the top left photo, that's their board game checkout. So they actually check out board games to the public, and I thought that was like a really fun idea and to really get people involved. That's the lower left is the immediate entrance of the library. So just as soon as you walk in, the main circulation desk is there, and then the board games are a little bit off to the right. They had a lot of display areas featuring local history information. And they also had a little information about a little chess club that meets there and plays. So in a way, it kind of reminded me of the Riverside Library when I had gone there and they would invite people to play on the piano. So that was cool. Okay. And then there's more this is all in the archives. So they had multiple different display cases with something. So that was like the Victory Garden display. And then they had the bookshelf there. It looks very benign, but it's not. It's the least benign set of books in the entire archives. That actually compiled their most popular #1 place that everybody goes to, and it's the true crime collection of books, and so I guess they specialized in that. And then the most disturbing thing that I saw is the following book, and this book's actually the book that people like flock to the library for, and it's the serial killer named Dorothea Puente from like the 80s or 90s, and she was up in Sacramento, and then she had a boarding house, and then once the people hit 65, then she would like do stuff, and she would keep their money, the Social Security check, but it's her cookbook. Apparently, she was like this phenomenal chef. I asked Stuart, and I'm, well, do you want to try to cook one of these things? And he's like, no, I don't really want to. You kind of lose your appetite, but that book is the #1 book in the archives. Okay. And then the lower left picture, it's the Sacramento room, and that's what the archives is called. And I really liked how they branded just the whole logo. I thought it was a really nice look, appropriate look for Sacramento. It kind of screams Wild West in a way, and does a little nod back to the gold miners. So that was cool. They still use the card catalog there, but everything, the majority of the collection is digitized. And they also have these tours where people will go and have special tours of the archives set up throughout Sacramento. This is the only library in Sacramento that's open on the weekend. So that's why I went to this one, because it was open. And then the picture on the right, that one, it has a lot of the collection for that, the history books that we have here, like the history of Glendora, or, but it's all like local. So they really specialized in local Sacramento area. And they also had lockers that was near the third picture, the second one from the right. And they had lockers where you could keep your purse or pens. So you could protect the items there from any marks. Yeah. Okay, and so this was the maker's space and the teen space. So it was a really popular area. They have the 3D printer. They had an area to record music. I don't know if there are people I can't see, but I don't know if that picture has people in it, but it had about 5 people inside of the little maker's space area, making 3D printers, recording songs. And I don't know what else they were doing, but they were in there. They were having a good time. Okay, and this is the video of the vault.
I don't have my gloves, so I won't pull out anything special, but yeah, I'm going to take a look. It's,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Oh, look at those books. Yes,
Yeah,
those are
some
beautiful.
quite old books and our really old phone books are in here. Phone books going back to the beginning of the 20th
Are
century.
those the really popular items
The
also?
phone books, we have digitized some of them. Usually people are happy with the city directories.
Uh-huh.
The phone books don't really. I'll go to the phone.
Is that all that went on? Okay, sorry. So he was really helpful, and that was really interesting, and I wished I could have attended some type of an archival tour, like where they go around the town, but it's like multiple days. But I had fun. So there you go. That's my report.
Is it a Carnegie Library?
No, not that one. And they had one before, but they knocked it down and they rebuilt it with this because they did have the original shelves, a lot of those display cases, and the tables and bookshelves were from the original location. But they had a ton of local history, tons. And they had plot maps were really popular, like just information about the historic homes. A lot of people had interest in that. That was the same like in Riverside. And then we signed in and I didn't ask what was the average count. Sorry, I usually did that. So we had to sign in and they track how many people come and from where.
Nice. Thank you,
Thank you.
Trustee Landeman.
Hi.
All right, moving on. We will be hearing from Library Director Stone.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. It's good to be back with you all. Thank you, Erica. That was really interesting. It's always fascinating to see what different needs there are in different communities and how the libraries are shaped differently because they've identified what the different gaps are for their public. It's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see. So as usual, in the board packet, which is available to the public in its entirety online, there is a written report from the divisions and from my office. And rather than go through that in great detail because it's available in the packet, I'll just provide a few updates that have emerged since print time. First of all, I just wanted to confirm that the council has agendized interviews for the unscheduled trustee vacancy. Those will be tomorrow at a special meeting before the 7 o'clock regular meeting. So they will be conducting interviews at that time for that. And although the agendas have not been finalized or posted, it looks like they expect in May to get an update and then continue with the interviews for the scheduled vacancies for the trustees. So I'm happy to get any other answers to those questions you may need. As usual, the workflow of the library board is fluid, and we just wanted to confirm for the public that the budget update that was originally just anticipated, was not agendized, but was anticipated for tonight, has indeed been moved to May. And they're just, as the finance office put it, a few more items to fine tune before we bring you that budget update. It usually comes in May anyway. We were hoping to come early this year, but looks like May really works out better. So we'll see you with that next month. There is in the written report from the divisions and directors' offices a summary of how the library appears in the city's strategic plan, the citywide strategic plan. I just wanted to point out, which I neglected to do in the packet, that entire strategic plan, is available in the city council packets that are available online through the city's website. So if anybody wants to see the entire multi-page grid of all of that and not just the library excerpts, that's available there. A few things about the statistics that are included, and we caught up, I brought you February as well as March this time. First of all, there's one listing for website views, which is appears as a 0. Really, that should be a not available, and we'll work on getting that clarified. The statistics were simply not available for technological reasons, platform reasons, for that month. So we'll make sure we clarify that it really wasn't that nobody came to look. It's just that we didn't have a number. We didn't have a statistic for that. Also, just a few things of note. The Adventure Packs video spiked social media, and this this year you'll see that number reflected, and then last year it was the Badge Design Challenge. So different months you'll see, one month you'll have several thousand social media outreach numbers, and then the comparative month from a year later or a year earlier will be much lower. And it's those kinds of things, like depending on what campaign. So those were the two that made those differences in the February and the March statistics, the Adventure Packs video, and more recently, and the Badge Design Challenge last year. Okay, so a lot of that housekeeping out of the way. I just wanted to recollect a little bit with gladness about the National Library Week festivities we had last week, and thank you to the Friends Foundation for their support of many of those. We estimate that we had about 100 participants in the big escape room collection of events down at the park in Gladstone Park last week. Really great way to reach people who don't necessarily visit the library facility or the Civic Center. We did get a lot of people who just stumbled upon us because of that location, so that's pretty exciting. And we think about the same number, about 100, for the Friends Foundation ice cream service that they provided the next day for the city staff celebration of National Library Week. We don't have an official number from them, but we think that's what they were estimating as well. Let's see here. Oh, and then as far as the participation by the city staff in our sort of mini escape room experiences here on site, what we need to go back into our photographs and count those people. And we haven't gotten around to actually doing that assessment yet, but we'll see. We think a good number made their way from the ice cream truck to Bidwell, but not everybody. But those that did seem to have a really good time. Let's see here. We also are still continuing our release of the virtual escape rooms that have been curated from free online escape rooms by our library staff has curated those. We have sent out 2 out of those 4 curated ones, and over 280 people there have been 280 clicks on those virtual escape rooms through those emails. So we expect, it'd be great if we could reach 400 or 500 by the end of the month in terms of people being able to participate online, many of whom we're guessing, obviously we're not able to come and be with us, but we want to make sure we serve them as well. So those are good numbers as well. Let's see here. By the way, for the public, if you want to get on the list, the easiest for that kind of email to get those links to things like our curated escape rooms, the easiest way is probably just to give the library a call, and we can take care of that for you. Also, that's a great way to, if you haven't already gotten a link for the drawing for our tickets for a full escape room experience, call us and we can get you on that email list, and then you'll get the virtual escape room experiences and a way to enter that drawing as well. So still celebrating National Library Week. A couple of other things that the public may want to know about. We have what the brand name is Nook. It's basically a little study house that is on loan to us for the public to try out. It's a little 2-seater study area, enclosed on most sides. And it provides a little bit of privacy, a little bit of sound protection. It's just a cozy place to set up and study at the library, and we're interested in the public's reaction and response to that space. So come out and give it a try and let us know what you think. And then on a completely different note, I just wanted to affirm for everyone that the State of the City address is going to be Thursday, May 8th, 5:30 at the Crowther Teen and Family Center. So a couple of ways, very different ways that the public can sort of participate in Things Library and Things City. Those are all my updates to the printed report. I am happy to answer or get answers to any questions that you may have.
How's the response to the Nook so far?
Can anybody speak to that? Who's been tracking those? So this is Elke Cattell. She's our senior management
Yes,
analyst.
good to see you all again. So the response has been positive. We are still encouraging the members of the public to use it. They're not quite sure what to do with it. So we have been encouraging the staff to encourage customers to use it because it is so new. And there are no doors on it, and so people aren't quite sure, is it just for looking at? So we are still working on that, but so far we have heard positive feedback. People seem to like it. We did actually just move it today. We had it on the side next to where our public copiers are, and we wanted to experiment a little bit, so we actually have it on the main floor right now. It's a little more center. As soon as you walk in, you're able to see it, and we do have a sign there to encourage people to sign up and use the room. We have a QR code where people can provide their feedback, and we keep statistics, just kind of tracking how many people are using it. So people are excited about it. City staff is excited about it. Everybody who has seen it has been really excited about it. So it's been fun.
Awesome. And if we do end up purchasing it, is this something that's going to be funded by the Friends Foundation, or are we using our own funds to?
So that's something we will need to look at. First of all, we will need to evaluate if we actually want to go ahead and purchase something like that, whether it's worth the expenditure. And then we'll have to look at the different options as to the different funds that may be available to us. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Elke, I have a question also.
Yeah.
How do you get into the Nook if it doesn't have any doors?
You just slide right in.
We slide in.
Yeah. It's just open. It's kind of like
okay.
a restaurant booth.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like that. It's a two-seater, so really only two people can fit in there, and it just has a little roof. But it's just like a booth at a restaurant. Really, you just slide into it, and it has power. There's a little light. It has a USB port, regular power outlet. So it is sound dampening. So when you do sit down, my ears start buzzing, so you can tell there is a difference.
Oh. Is it meant for like a partner study room? Or
You could, right now we are offering it as that because it is only for two people, but you could use it as like for yourself if you want to, have a semi-private space in the library to work. You can have your laptop there. It's good enough for two people. It may be a little crowded if you have a lot of papers and laptops and all those things, but that's kind of what it's intended for, is for one or two people to use it.
is there like a time limit to stay in
Right
there?
now, basically the same rules that we have for the study rooms apply to the Nook. So it's a 90-minute time limit. Oh, 2 hours, sorry.
2 hours. Do you have to like register ahead of time, like reserve it?
Yeah, when you come in, it's first come, first serve. So when you come into the library, if it's available, you're certainly able to reserve it. And we are, like I said, we are encouraging the staff to encourage the customers to use it. So if it's a smaller group, if it's only two people, we are certainly offering that right now and hoping that people enjoy it.
Cool.
Okay, can you clarify, when you say reserve, it's first come, first serve means there's no waiting list?
Correct. There is no waiting list, but if it is available, you can just come up to the desk and basically check it out. use your library card or your ID, and then you can use it for 2 hours. Yeah. It's pretty fun. You should come by and take a look at it and visit and use it.
And this particular version is fully mobile. So, I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that the staff just moved it from against the wall out to the middle of the main floor themselves is unlike some of the other models where, for a variety of reasons we don't need to get into this evening, they would have needed to be anchored, and therefore there were a lot of restrictions on where we could, once
the
they got
only-
placed, they were there for a long time. So this one truly is mobile.
Yeah, the only thing it requires is an outlet.
And that's only if you really want the power.
The power.
Other than that,
Yeah,
you don't
other
even
than
need
that, you don't need it. And it took 3 of us this morning just because we were maneuvering around the shelving. But when it was brought in, it was one person bringing it in.
How many people have used it? Do you know, like a handful, or
So
what
we've-
age group too?
So we're not tracking age group. We're averaging about two people a day. So on Friday, it came in Friday a week ago, and we had stanchions in front of it because we were trying to discourage people from just using it, because we do want to keep track of the statistics. And we think that the stanchions kind of made it look like it was just for display, although we did have a sign in front of it that we encouraged to use. So Friday and Saturday, we really didn't get any usage those first 2 days, and then we removed the stanchions and again, encouraged the staff to really talk to our customers, and added some additional signage throughout the library. So it's been about two groups per day, 2 to 3. I feel like it was slow, but it's been moving up. So that's exciting. It's fun.
I like the fact that it potentially wouldn't work for every group that's seeking one of the enclosed study rooms, but it could help with that. And also, there are certain times of day, just naturally in a library that's configured the way a library building that's configured this way, it gets noisier at certain times of day, and having some options like this could help those people who are there who need a quieter space to focus. So it can solve a couple of different problems, but we are curious to see what the feedback is from the public.
Very nice. So are we going to be moving on to the consent calendar now?
Thank you.
So items on the consent calendar will be enacted in a single motion without individual discussion unless a trustee has requested it to be removed for separate discussion. Does anyone wish to pull or comment on any consent calendar items? I would like to request a motion to approve.
I motion to approve the calendar items.
I'll second.
Motion carries 4-0.
So moving on to new business. And we would like to hear a staff report from Director Stone.
Thank you. Let's see, let's bring up, here we go. So we're going to have a few items for you tonight. The first one is to discuss the cancellation of the regular Board of Library Trustees meetings for this current summer season, or I should say the upcoming summer season for 2025. Okay, so we do this yearly, at least recently, and last time, the Board of Library Trustees voted to cancel the July and the August meetings. That was in 2024. Just a reminder in terms of the environment that we are in, according to the municipal code, there are no city council regular meetings for the second half of July and the first half of August. They meet twice monthly, so that's just the second July meeting and the first August meeting are canceled for the council per municipal code. So just a review of what usually happens in July and August as you're considering which either or both of those meetings you would like to cancel this year. The things we typically cover between those two meetings would be the election of the officers of the board, the appointment of the Friends Foundation liaisons, the planning of the library board's goals, and we review both, well, several things, the goals, metrics and budget, and the strategic framework. We wrap that up for the prior fiscal year. And if we have all those data, sometimes we don't have all those data even until September, but if we have them, we take care of that as soon in the fiscal year as we can, in the new fiscal year. And then we also introduce new trustees and do an orientation check-in if that is indicated. We don't always have new trustees, but we will this coming fiscal year. So any of those items can be covered in the months that follow as needed. If there are any items that come up that require immediate action, a special meeting may be called. Vacations, one of the reasons that we do this each year and that the council has gone the way it has is because we do expect vacations among the public, the library and city clerk staff, and elected and appointed officials throughout the city. So just wanted to note that as of the writing of this report, there were more library managers scheduled for vacation in July than in August, but it wasn't necessarily overwhelming, just in case you want to factor that in. So we're just asking that you decide whether in either July or in August, you would choose not to hold a regular Board of Library Trustees meeting and provide direction to us accordingly. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. Sadly, Tomoko and Brianna will be leaving. Can they still vote on this too?
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes.
Okay.
I was planning on abstaining and not voting, just because my
too.
schedule
Okay.
should not impact what you guys decide.
Okay.
I agree. I had
If,
planned on this.
if they're abstaining, Carrie and I could still vote on it, or do we need to wait till the next person?
So I will let the
The
city
vacation
clerk's office
person.
address exactly whether abstaining affects the quorum or not.
That's a great question. Depending on whether or not you would like to move this item over to the next meeting.
Is that when the vacated seat would be filled in?
It wouldn't be
Somebody would be here.
until June, if I reach at the top of my head, yeah.
Would,
June.
if they do the, because for the vacated seat, they're having the interviews tomorrow.
The unscheduled vacancy.
Oh, yes, correct, unscheduled vacancy. So we can move this item to the next meeting if you'd like.
Can we achieve a quorum with just Erica and myself?
It would have to be, I believe, 50% of the quorum. Let me get back to you on that. If you want to skip over this item and then move on to the next one. Sounds good?
Okay. And I just wanted to mention one thing. The last year, the August had been canceled due to remodeling of this building. So I'll just throw that out there too. So that was how I took it.
And we did not meet in July, correct?
No.
Right. So we skipped July and August last year.
We
as well.
did.
Yes.
We did.
And August, it was the remodeling and some vacations, I think, also.
So we could skip over this item and move on to item number 7.
Okay. Number 7, self-evaluation of the trustees. I will allow Director Stone to explain.
Thank you very much. So this is discussion of the board's annual self-evaluation process. And it's typical that in April, we bring this before you as a chance to revisit the procedure before beginning your evaluation process. So here's a little bit about how we got to the process that we have today. So starting in 2018, that was when written self-evaluations were provided to the recording secretary. They were added into the board packet, unchanged, and then discussed and documented in the minutes. So that was the way that it began. I mean, the current process began that way in 2018, just collecting those and recording them through putting them into the packet and discussing them in a meeting as desired. So it's evolved a little bit since then. In April of 2022, we added that the goals of the board would be used as a guideline so that the evaluations would respond item by item to the existing goals, rather than be sort of free form. And the instructions at that time were for the library director to email a sort of little packet of instructions, a mission statement, a deadline, and a copy of those goals within 1 week. I just want to mention here before I forget that I have some time off coming, so we might need to talk about 1 week turnaround for that piece if you decide to proceed this way. But so I just wanted to mention that in case I forgot later. Usually it's I can do it within like 5 working days on my schedule, and then the library director aggregates and presents those written results at the June meeting, again, as discussed as part of the packet, and then you have the option to discuss them as you choose, but they go into the record that way. Then in April of 2023, we decided that there would be one format that everyone follows for sort of an ease of comparison, and it was done in a table format, which everybody found helpful. Just as a comment, last year we began this a month later, but we still had the same June presentation timing. So again, if we did it following the process as we've outlined, we would get those instructions to you soon, and then it would be a June presentation in the packet of those. And we did it that way last year as well, although it was a shorter turnaround time. So I hope all that was clear. Basically, this evening, it's for President Johnson to just, lead any discussion you would choose, review those processes, and decide next steps and assignments among yourselves.
Thoughts? I think the process is very helpful to self-reflect as to your participation, your efficacy, and your commitment to being a trustee. I enjoy the process. I think it's valuable.
I agree.
I also agree. There's just one typo on the table. I don't know if it matters. It might have been my own typo. It says 33 on the third row. Maybe we can change that to a 3. Not that it's a big deal.
We'll make a marker on that. We will update the template. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I just have one comment. Since Brianna and I are terming out in June, that'll be our last meeting as the trustees, and that's when we would review something like this. So we would take that, I guess, as a period of self-reflection, right? But really what's, thinking of item number 8 on tonight's agenda, I think it's more important that the future trustees have some self-reflection here and how they're able to support and advocate for the library when we move on to item number 8 tonight.
We do usually in July or August have a review of the library board's goals. So that is introduced as early as we can in the new fiscal year.
Would the incoming trustees then complete it? So I don't know if that's too quick.
So this template is of looking back. I mean, you certainly, it was an interesting idea to use it as a projection looking forward, but since it is designed as it is, and it has been used as a looking back, they will have no past for that. They would be part of the discussion to set the new goals for the upcoming fiscal year. And then later, the tool comes to take those goals and say, okay, how did everyone do, on that, and do a self-evaluation. But if you wanted to discuss doing it as a projection forward to say, once you have the goals, what are you planning? And to use this, this tool or something similar. We don't have a process like that, but we certainly could agendize that or, give, so.
I think the action plan column satisfies that. And if the new board member coming next month would like to just omit the comments and continue with just the action plan to kind of get a feel of what he or she would like to do moving forward in their new role, then that would be a great idea, I think.
So I would like to move that we do our self-reflections and have them ready for the June meeting.
If acceptable to you, is it permissible if I get you that packet of instructions by May 6th? Does that work?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Very easy. Do we have an answer back on item number 6?
Can you repeat what you were motioning on that last one?
Do we need to move on it? Okay, I would like to move that we complete our self-reflections in time for the June board meeting.
I second.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. That's motion carries 4-0.
Thank you. Do we have an update on number 6?
We will right after number 8.
Okay, we'll do it after 8. Ballot measures and advocacy, I would like to defer to Director Stone.
Thank you once again. So this item arose partly out of some direction that City Council gave to staff in March and that was shared with the board. And that direction at that meeting was to for staff to provide, there we go, a report to council that was a general description of all the major city facility needs, clearly identifying estimated costs for each facility, to provide a summary of financing scenarios involving bond issuance, and to explore contracting with a consultant to document the visual impact of the needed improvements. Some questions arose about the board's involvement in any possible bond issuance, as this is just, the reports are provided to council and as they continue their discussion. So the other parts of from that staff report to council that are related to this request from the library board, from that staff report, they said that the initial support level for a potential facility bond was 53%. So that was a variety of facilities throughout the city, and that when they polled the public, that support number is lower than the 2/3 vote threshold that would be required if the city wanted to pursue a measure on its own. There was also reported that a measure undertaken through a citizen-led effort the threshold would be a simple majority, 50% plus one. So again, this sharing that with the board was part of what raised these questions about how the board can participate moving forward, depending on what happens in the future regarding any of these future discussions and future moves, possibly in a citizen-led effort. So what I did was I reached out to the city attorney and asked how the board can in fact participate. And so these are the city attorney's instructions about that. So first of all, the first part of this is how the library board can support a citizen initiative. First of all, it can provide strictly informational materials to the public. I think we knew that. I thought the interesting piece of this is that this has to be through communication channels that the board normally uses to relay information to the public. So there is no separate campaign or information road or anything else to take. This is through the way the board usually communicates. So I thought that was a significant a way of looking at this. We knew it had to be strictly informational, but I'm not sure I had heard this part before. So that's a very useful piece of information. So there's some other things as well, that ways that the board can support should there be a citizen initiative for a bond measure that could help pay for all these city facility repairs and upgrades. So the next way is to adopt resolutions supporting or opposing the citizens initiative. Now, of course, this is, sort of applies to any citizens initiative, one way or the other, support or, oppose. If there is going to be a resolution, it has to be done at a regularly scheduled open meeting when the public can express its views. So no special meeting for that. It has to be just a regular meeting. The resolution cannot urge the voters to take any action. It has to be specifically from the board's perspective. And the resolution language must be simple, measured, and informative. And just my 2 cents is that great to get legal's advice on exactly what that, on any draft that we would want for that. So those are the guidelines should the board, should there be a citizen initiative, or should you want to adopt a resolution in support of such a thing or opposing such a thing, this is how it would have to be shaped. So a few more instructions on how the board can support an initiative. Both city employees and board members may volunteer and engage in political activity as private citizens specifically, cannot be during work hours, and cannot hold themselves out as representing the city or the board during those actions for actual political activity. Okay, so there are some ways beyond those limitations we've already discussed, that restrictions. These are other things that the board members cannot do in support of this possible citizen initiative. First of all, no use of public funds or resources to oppose or support. So that includes everything from, actual materials to funding to personnel time to facilities, right, okay. Produce or distribute anything that advocates or urges voters to vote for or against a citizen initiative. So this is very similar to the resolution language that said you can't be urging any action, right? And then finally, this is related again to the first one, use staff time, materials, equipment, facilities, or city board communication channels, significant there, to attempt to persuade voters to vote for or against a citizen initiative. So that's how the city attorney outlined what options are and are not available to the board, given that the city council is just sort of continuing this discussion about the needs of the facilities. They're going to be getting more information about that, and seeing, seeing what the lay of the land is, let's just say. So basically, the recommendation with this item is simply to review those considerations if there's any direction you would like to provide to staff, we're happy to have it. Otherwise, receive and file. And I hope that helped answer some of the questions that came up when we started sharing what the council was discussing and getting reports on.
Is there an anticipated joint meeting between the council coming up regarding the library or?
So I have reached out to the city manager about that, and both to find out if we could do it before they started receiving these reports in May, and that really wasn't a viable option. And then I asked if we could get, sort of something calendared for after that, and he's discussing that with the mayor and through appropriate channels to find out what the receptivity is for actually getting something on the calendar. So far there is no actual date, but I have heard that your interest in scheduling something like that, and we'll continue to pursue that to see when something like that could happen. I mean, I know that eventually that is the intent. As far as having a concrete idea of when that will be, so far I do not have that for you.
And then if we wanted to help out, we just become citizen. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you say help out, if it's political activity, it's private citizen.
Private citizen. And so private citizen could be sharing information on social media that is informational material from.
Yeah, as private citizen, a private citizen, you're welcome for it to be political activity. The informational material is when you are communicating as a board, and then it needs to be through board channels, through normal board channels, informational only.
Okay.
Political activity as a private citizen, with those restrictions that, let's see here, find that slide. That cannot be like on any kind of city time where you're logged as being on duty, and that you can't hold yourselves out as representing the city or the board or whatever in any way. So that's why it's truly as a private citizen.
And would the information that would be shared, if it was in a flyer form, it could not be in a city facility? Do you know what I mean? It could not be distributed in a city facility. It would have to be outside of a city facility. Do you know what I'm saying?
Distributed.
Like if somebody made a stack of flyers,
because
stuck them in the library.
Because it very specifically says use facilities as a cannot.
No city building.
No use of city facilities
No city property.
for things that are persuasive of one standpoint or, one.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. I think you may remember from, also from the Ethics and Brown Act training. I know it's been different lengths of time for different ones of you. And I can certainly double check on this with legal and with the city clerk's team for more detail. One other thing that he did not mention that I would urge caution with is that in the Brown Act world, even on private citizen social media accounts, multiple reactions to posts in social media can be considered a violation of the Brown Act in that it is a response of a majority of the organization to something that may become library or city business. So I will try to confirm that applies here as well. So just, and I'll report back, But just a heads up that often they urge caution in responding to any kind of social media stuff that may become city business, because it can be constituted as a way of meeting outside of the public forum.
Even if that account is your own private citizen account and says nothing about you being a board member or anything.
I think it's that idea that, you know, if somebody posts something and then 4 of the board members say, I love this idea, that basically they've been sharing their ideas about a possible city service outside of a regular meeting. So I will confirm that. I just, you know, ahead of time, since you asked specifically about social media, I just want to say that it does not create quite as free a forum as you might be thinking.
And if let's say a former board trustee member, you know, said then they're former, right? It would only apply for current.
So it's the responses. So if somebody else, even if they were never a board member ever, posted something that could conceivably eventually come up as an action item for your body, and 5 of you all respond to that on social media, even if it's somebody who's never been on the board and it's their account, the fact that the 5 of you are, in essence, even just through a thumbs up emoji, all agreeing to something, that has proven to be problematic legally. And the general advice has been to refrain from that because it could become a group thing, and then it's a tantamount to having a discussion outside of the public meeting forum. And I will confirm that this is one of, that this could be considered a topic that might eventually come before the board or the city. I would suspect, based on the rest of this, that's true, but I will confirm that for you.
So if the library were to show the vendorings, like we had done before, of what the library could potentially look like if a citizen-led initiative were to pass, so that's just baseline information that the city can share with the public? Or is that also taking a stance of urging people to vote?
Right. So we can talk about the impacts of the funding or the lack of funding.
Okay.
Doing that in a way that is persuasive or is outside of the usual communication channels, then that's where it gets a little gray, and we would need to double check on that. The information exists. It's public information. It's, what's been presented at the meetings can be re-presented. We can offer it to, if people are requesting information for one side or the other, we can provide that. We can go out and, speak informationally if we've been asked to provide just information about, again, what the impact would be and not be. But any urging of voting one way or the other, utilizing those materials or not, is where the problem lies.
That's complicated. Okay. And then do we have, I know we probably have asked this before, do we know off the top of our heads, no need to do any additional research outside, were there any citizen-led initiatives that have passed in the city of Glendora before? Measure E, okay.
Was Measure E brought to the ballot by citizens?
I'm not sure, I'm not well versed.
There have been a few. There was also the recall and the Measure D.
Okay, thank you.
Measure D
I will
and
look-
E, and so at least those 3
Okay,
that I know of, that I could think of. They were citizen-led.
thank you.
Are you going to receive and file? Okay. So we're looking for a motion.
I move that we receive and file the information on advocacy.
I second.
Motion carries 4-0. And we'll go back to item 6.
Yes, please.
And we do have majority of the trustees here. We have everyone present. It's a vote, so we can go ahead and vote.
Okay. So we need to decide if we're going to be meeting in July, not meeting in July and August, or meeting in July or meeting in August.
I know in July, there's a lot of vacations, so that one I can see. August, I don't know. It's, school's starting back up. People are dropping off kids to college or something, and like you.
We did not meet last year in August, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah, it was because of the remodeling,
Yes.
so it's,
I move that we do not meet for July and August.
okay. I second.
Motion carries 2-0.
Do we have any final comments before we adjourn for the evening?
I do. Okay.
Tell us.
First of all, the National Library Week, last week, was it last week? Or was it, I don't,
Oh, no. 2 weeks
2 weeks
ago.
ago.
I thought
Okay,
it,
all right.
I thought it was last
It's
week too.
really
I know.
It's so hot.
It was amazing. So action-packed. So on Tuesday, I went to the council meeting of the National Library Week, and I accepted the National Library Week recognition from the city council. So it was cool. And then I handed it over to Director Stone, and so I'm sure it's now been enshrined somewhere safe, and everybody has oohed and awed. And then I think it was the next day, it was the Wednesday then of my spring break. And I went to the most amazing thing that I've ever been to, like even as a kid. It was just so awesome. The Glendora Public Library Friends Foundation funded a mobile escape room that I have now since friended and followed on Instagram and Facebook. And I took the twins, my twins. They loved it. We had such a great time. There were different puzzle stations outside, and then we went into the little mobile unit, and they loved it. And they're all, maybe this is something we could have for our birthday party. I'm all, nice, you know, that's awesome. But it's really cool. And I was really impressed, and it was so hot, and the library staff was out there slaving away, and I captured some images. And thank you for the water. I just took the cups that my twins had put in my purse, out of my purse. So, but that was so much fun. I appreciate everybody who did that, and it was a big hit. Honestly, one of the best things I've ever experienced. And as far as I know, I think maybe this has been the only time any library has tried this in the area. I don't know. I could be very wrong. It could be San Dimas or Covina or West Covina or somebody, but I've never heard or seen anything like this. So thank you very much. That was amazing. And then one other thing. So Night on the Plaza is coming up, and we usually do a trustee basket. And so I was just throwing that out if anybody would like to participate. And so
Yes,
just let me know. So it was just to be transparent and open.
Should we,
And then if you want to, then you could just talk to me, and then we'll just
should we
assign
add that as an agenda item for next month, or will you coordinate for us?
So best practices from the city clerk's office in terms of this kind of support action for our foundation? Does it need formal action from the board? Can they communicate with each other, or is it better if it goes through me but doesn't need an action? What would you recommend? So the idea is to coordinate the support of Night on the Plaza through putting together one of their auction baskets or some other kind of support. And so the question is, do they need to do that as officially as an agenda item? Can they organize it themselves? Should it be done through me, maybe without an agenda item? What's the best plan?
Yeah, through you.
Through me, okay. So express your interest to me, and I will act as the point for that instead of having all of you discuss amongst yourselves offline.
And I'll give you information for the amount that we were thinking.
Excellent.
Because Cheryl Hill had contacted me and asked, and I said, yes, we are doing it. I have to get more information. So, thank you.
Any further comments for the evening? I adjourn this meeting at 8:06 PM.